Alright, what's up you guys? Part 2 of the TTR build, free pit bike. We've got all the suspension parts now, rear shock, chromoly extended front leg, heavy duty fork springs, and the bushings. Got the wheels back from powder coat, got some new Dunlop MX53s on there. So yeah, start tearing this thing apart and I'll show you guys how to swap your fork parts over. Alright, real quick, I need to give a shout out to two companies. First is Fast 50s, because they're the only ones I could find that still sell parts for this bike. Not only do they still sell them, but they got them shipped out super quick. I think I ordered Monday and had them Thursday. I'm in California and they're in Northern California, but regardless, that's some dang good shipping times, especially right now with everything going on with COVID. So huge shout out to them. If you need parts for the TTR or Hondas, they do all 50. So hit them up. They got a website, Instagram. Call them on the phone and order them. They were great. Also, I need to give a shout out to Extreme Powder Coating. They're up here in the high desert in SoCal. They just do great work. They're owned by some friends of mine, and they did the wheels for this bike. They did the wheels for the trophy cart. They did the wheels for the trike project. All came out bitchin'. I've put the trophy cart wheels through some rocky hell. Stood up just fine. So if you need powder coating, you're in this area, please hit them up. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to change the fork legs, the fork springs, the bushings, and your rear shock. This is all going to be the same whether you're doing a TTR 50 or a Honda 50. All years, CRF, XR, doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same. There's tiny difference in one of the parts that I'll show you when we get into it, but otherwise, let's open this thing up and start doing it. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is take out the top bolts from your forks on both sides and then pop off the dust boots on the bottom of both forks. Now you're going to need some snap ring pliers to get the snap rings out of the bottom of the fork. Get your boots off, get up in there, snapping right there, take your pliers, pinch that ring so it closes, it'll fall out of there. Alright, now you can see, since you have already undone this bolt, this is all ready to come out once you get that snap ring off of there. So just go ahead and slide the whole thing out. My bike's going to fall over. Just set this up on my workbench. Alright, we'll do the same thing to the other side. Find where that snap ring is. Off of there, just go ahead and slide that out. Okay, I've got my fork legs here. Now you want to pay attention to this because wherever your, wherever your fork guard mounting brackets are, they're going to be pointed towards one way, and then the alignment lobe right there on the top of the forks is going to be pointed the opposite way. So when you put it all back together, you want to make sure you do it the same way. So again, fork guard brackets that way, retainment lobe this way. To take this apart, what we're gonna need is a 1/8 inch punch to get that pin out of there, okay? Let me grab that. Okay, you actually need a 5/32 punch. So what you're gonna do is hang this off the edge of your table so that you're not putting the force of the hit on the actual retainer. You want to put it off of it so you're not going to damage it. So I'll hang it off. Here's my die. Okay, now what you want to do is don't put this flat on the table, because then when you go to hit this pin, you're going to end up just flattening that and damaging everything. So if you can, hang it off the edge like that and have someone help you hold it, or I have this perfect little crack between my two workbenches. So I'm going to put it in there, set my tap right on there and hammer it out. Okay, now that the pin's all the way through, you can pop this assembly off, pop this guy off, kind of set it down in the same orientation so you remember which way it goes back together. Alright, this guy comes right off of there. I'll pop that pin all the way out of there, and then your stock bushing comes right off, which we won't need because we've got the new ones. Alright? And then also bushing washer, the retaining clip, and last, your dust boot, alright? Cool. Now it's all in order. Set this to the side because we're done with it. Alright, so now we're ready to start putting together a new one. So what we're going to do first is take the dust boot, slip that on there, just like that. The other reason it's good not to take both of them apart is in case you forget what goes where, and you can look at the old one for the order of where everything is. Alright, so I'm going to put the dust boot on, and then I'm going to take some of this waterproof grease, apply it to the new fork leg. You don't have to be crazy, just put enough on there. Okay, so now you just take the opposite order. You put everything, you took everything off, put it back on. So take your snap ring, slip that down there. Okay, washer. Then you take your new Delrin bushing, slide that sucker on there. Now we can take our retaining clip, pop that on there, make sure you line up the holes. Okay, and then take the old spring assembly, make sure you get your bushing back on there. The Honda 50s don't have this part, it just looks like this, but on TTR you're going to have to put this bushing back on there. So slip this back on there. So then remember, you don't want to get this backwards. So whatever way your fork guard mounting holes are pointed, which is this way, you want to make sure that alignment cog on top is pointed the opposite way, alright? So now, make sure our holes are lined up. We can take our pin, go, get it right back in that hole. I'm going to use my punch on the other side to make sure the holes are all lined up straight. Okay, then I'm going to use my punch to get the pin set in there, the last little bit of the nail. You want to make sure that it's recessed enough on both sides so that it's not poking out at all, it's not going to rub against the outer fork tubes. Alright, so this all looks good, we've got enough grease on there. Okay, so now that this is all back together, next what we're going to do is remove this spring from this assembly. So what you're going to do is take a punch and get it right there on the end of the spring, and basically you're unscrewing it off of this assembly. Okay, so I'm doing this on my vise because I don't have a better way to hold it. I don't have soft jaws, so I just rubbed paper towel and didn't clamp it too tight. So basically, I'm taking my tap, or my punch rather, put it on the end of the spring and just start rotating it off of there. One, and then we're going to have to put it back in there and do the same to get the cap out of there because we're going to need that. And then you can also get your bump stop out of there as well, so we can reuse this piece as well. I'll get those two pieces off. Keep going. Okay, that's out of there now, so I'm going to take this bump stop out of there, grab my new spring here, slip the bump stop up inside of there, I'm going to take this and just screw it on to the cap, go as tight as you can. Okay, make sure you get it all the way tight, then you're good to go. You you want to screw this one back onto this one. Okay, there we go. Got the new one on there. It's all good to go. Now when you're tightening this, you want to make sure again that you get that top lobe pointed the opposite way of those bottom fork guard mounts. So I actually need to spin mine back a little bit. If you're not sure where to get this pointing, you basically want it to be pointing even with the flat surface of your axle through right here. Set that down. So this assembly is all done, ready to go back on the bike. The only thing that it needs is, we'll just lob up a bunch of grease in here, and it'll be good to go. Make sure you still have grease on the floor shaft right here. Okay, so I've got one done. I'm not going to show you guys the other one, but it's the exact same. So I'll get that done real quick, and then we'll throw them back on the bike, and we'll move on to the rear shock. Alright, I've got them both all the way back together. I'm just going to lob them up with a bunch of grease, fill the spring just like how it was when you pulled it out. Make sure this still has a nice thin coat of grease on it. And slap them back in the bowl. Okay, go ahead and take your thing. You're going to slide it right back up there. Push your new bushing up in there. Slide your washer up. Then get your snap ring pliers. You see your snap ring up in there too. And the last thing you gotta do, get them lined up. You'll feel that little alignment cog slip in there where it needs to be. Check your 14 mil bolts up top, tighten it all the way, you're good to go. Get the fork legs on there. Now, set it up, take apart the rear, get that rear shock in there. Okay, to get the rear shock out, it's just like the Honda 50. You've got a lower bolt here, one up there. You just gotta take the seat off to get to them, slide them out, and that'll pop right off, and we'll get the new one in there. Alright, the new shock's all in there. Got the upper bolt on, and the lower bolts, and you can see, put the bleeder valve on the bottom so we can still change the air, the nitrogen settings without having to take the whole seat off to get to it. Okay, I'm running out of light, so I'm going to cut the video here, but I've got all the suspension on, trying to get the wheels on, and then I'll mess with the seat. I actually got to do some trick stuff to get the BBR seat on here, so I want to get that on film tomorrow. I'll get back to it and show you guys what's up, so I will see you then. Okay, I've got the seats here. You can see the BBR one for a Honda is the same size as the Yamaha one. They've just got a little bit different shape on the seat pan, but that's where the difference is in these two, is the actual seat pan. The Yamaha has a hook up front and the Honda doesn't. They have the same center hooks and the same rear mount support, but then the Yamaha has a slit in between here, and it's got a mounting bracket for the rear fender right there, and then different holes for the rear fender, as well as the side fenders. So what I'm going to do is just take the cover and foam off of this BBR seat, slap it on this Yamaha tray, and then we'll be good to go and slap it on the bike. Go ahead and set up time lapse and we'll get that done real quick. Okay, so here's the BBR seat cover and foam off the BBR tray. Set that over here, and then here's the Yamaha tray. See how similar they are? Almost the same, but just a couple little differences that prevent you from doing straight bolt-on. So take this one, lay this all on there, and I'll get it stapled together. Then we can put this bike back together. Okay, I've got the cover all on here. This is a lot easier with an air staple gun than a standard issue staple gun, but you can get it done. So now I'm gonna grab all the plastics, throw them back on there, we'll be good to go. Alright, there it is, all back together. Now let's stick this thing on the bike. Alright, it's all back together, you guys. I couldn't be more stoked. It looks pretty rad between the wheels, the tires. It's actually, I measured it before I put the tall seat on. I gained 3 inches between the suspension, and I guess you could credit that a little bit to the tires, but they weren't actually that much taller than the stock ones I had on there before. So now with the tall seat, you know, another 2 or 3 inches, but it feels real proper, it sits real proper. I still need to fill the shock with nitrogen or air, whatever they recommend, but can't wait to rip this thing around.